So you've got this awesome idea for a product, right? Let's say it's a killer rooftop tent. And that's the fun part, the creative spark. But, and this is a big but, what comes next is what really separates the brands that make it from the ones that just fizzle out. I'm talking about finding the right supplier. Nailing this step, that is the absolute foundation of your entire business.
See, you're not just trying to sell a tent, you're building an outdoor brand, something people can really trust when they're out in the wild. And that trust, it all starts with the quality of your gear. It's got to be built to last.
But here's the kicker. A great product is only half the story. Your brand's reputation, its whole future really, hinges on the partner you choose to actually make the thing. A reliable supplier isn't just a vendor. They're basically the co-builder of your dream.
But then you hop onto a site like Alibaba, and whoa, it's just a sea of thousands of suppliers. And honestly, they all start to blur together. So how in the world do you find the hidden gems in that crowd? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. Think of this as your personal detective's guide to sourcing.
All right, every good investigation starts with a stakeout. Before we even think about making contact, we need to get the lay of the land. We need to understand who's who in the world of Chinese suppliers, and they pretty much fall into one of three main categories. First up, you have the manufacturer. This is the source, the real deal. They're the ones with the factory, cutting the fabric, welding the frames, doing the whole shebang. The biggest plus? You're going to get the absolute best price. The catch? You've got to be ready to order in bulk, and I mean a lot, like a whole shipping container's worth. Next, you've got the trading company. Think of them like a matchmaker. They don't own the factory, but they have a whole network of them. The big win here is flexibility. You can often mix and match different styles, and your minimum order quantity, your MOQ, is going to be way lower. This is perfect if you're just starting out and want to test the waters. And finally, there's the wholesaler. These guys have warehouses full of ready-made generic tents just sitting there, ready to ship. It is by far the fastest and lowest risk way to get a small test order. The trade-off? You're going to pay more for each tent, and what you see is what you get. No custom logos, no special colors, nothing. So it all boils down to this classic trade-off, right? As you can see here, manufacturers give you that sweet low price and total customization, but they demand a huge commitment. On the total opposite end, wholesalers are super low risk, but offer zero customization. And right there, in that sweet spot in the middle, that's the trading company, giving you a nice balance of both worlds.
Okay, so now you know the different players on the field. Now it's time for the real detective work to begin, the background check. Let's dig into the clues that separate the real pros from the amateurs.
Clue number one is focus. A real manufacturer's catalog should make sense. It should be cohesive. You'll see rooftop tents, maybe some awnings, other outdoor gear, stuff that all uses similar materials, like waterproof canvas and aluminum frames. Their expertise is obvious. Now, on the flip side, if you open a catalog and it's just all over the place, like rooftop tents right next to kitchen gadgets and pet toys, that is a massive red flag. It's basically screaming at you that they're a middleman, not a specialist. They're a general store, not a dedicated factory. Okay, here's a real insider tip for you. Location is everything. In China, different industries are clustered in specific regions. If you want those premium, sleek, modern designs, you look to Zhejiang. If you're more focused on budget-friendly options, you're going to look in Guangdong. And for that super rugged, heavy-duty gear, that's Shandong. Knowing this from the start helps you zero in on the right places. Here's another thing that's pretty much non-negotiable: how long they've been in business. You want to look for suppliers who've been around for at least 3 years. In this industry, it's pretty easy to pop up and then disappear. Sticking around for a few years, that's a huge sign of stability, reliability, and that they're doing something right with their quality. And hey, you don't just have to take their word for it. A few minutes of online detective work can tell you a whole lot. Check their founding year on their Alibaba profile. Do a quick Who Is search on their website to see how old it is. Scroll way back on their social media. The digital trail rarely lies. So, let's say your potential partner has passed the background check. Now it's time to verify their credentials. This is where we look for the hard proof, the actual evidence that they can meet your standards. You know, a really simple but powerful question you can ask is, where do you export to? If they're already shipping products to demanding markets like the US or Europe or Australia, that is a fantastic sign. It means they already know how to meet higher standards for safety, materials, and just overall durability.
Next, and this is a big one, you need to ask about certifications. These are way more than just fancy pieces of paper. They're solid proof that the supplier has actually invested time and money into their quality processes. The right certifications can save you a ton of money on testing, and more importantly, they can keep your products from getting stuck at the border.
And these are the big ones you want to look for. For product safety, you've got things like REACH or ROSE, which deal with hazardous materials. For durability, you should ask to see their UV resistance reports. And for the factory itself, things like ISO 9001 for quality management or BSCI for ethical worker treatment tell you that you're dealing with a professional and responsible operation. Okay, now for a pro tip that might save you from a bit of a panic attack. There's one common thing that often freaks out new importers, but it's actually not a red flag at all. It's what we call a red herring. And that thing is the export license. It is super, super common for really great smaller factories in China to not have their own. It's just not worth the hassle for them. So instead, they use a third-party export agent. So if you see a different company name on the final shipping paperwork, don't panic. It's just a normal part of the process, not a sign that you're being scammed. So we've done our stakeout, we ran the background check, we verified all the evidence. After all of this detective work, what's the one single, most important lesson you should walk away with?
Look, at the end of the day, the goal isn't to find some mythical, perfect supplier. That person doesn't exist. The real goal is to find the right fit for your business. You're looking for a partner that gives you stable quality, one who actually communicates well, and someone who just gets your vision. That relationship, that's the real secret sauce to long-term success.
So there you have it. You've got the detective's playbook now. You know what signs to look for, the right questions to ask, and the red herrings to ignore. The only thing left is to start the investigation. So what's going to be the first step you take to find your ideal partner?